Welcome to On the Beat, the podcast that uncovers full frontal male nudity in cinema. My name is Laura, and I am joined by the Messiah. I was going to say Brian, because we're talking about Life of Brian. We're Ryan, my co-host Ryan.
Isn't Christmas a happy time?
Well, Brian, Ryan, you know, you're basically the same. The Messiah. Ryan
That's
of
awful.
Edinburgh.
This is terrible. This is an awful opening to this episode. How are we the same person? There's nothing angelic or biblical about me, like other than my rage, which is erupting slowly over this Christmas season. But yeah, okay.
This Christmas season has been incredibly rough and strange, and we're just doing everything we can and covering everything in glitter.
Surviving.
Surviving.
Literally surviving. So, yeah.
And this is perfect because blessed are the cheesemakers of this Christmas season. We are talking about the 1979 comedy Life of Brian, or Monty Python's Life of Brian, which we've been wanting to do for a long time.
Yeah. But we don't do comedies usually because they're comedies. We find we struggle with comedies.
I'm struggling already.
Yeah, But here's the thing, Big Nose here, or, the shoes, the whatever it is, just all the nameless jokes.
The ex-lepers.
Yeah, the ex-lepers. There's
You're
so
always
many.
Thinking about sex.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's like, do I have a big nose, Mum? It's like, stop talking about sex. It's like, okay. Is this big this, big that? Is it big enough? We're not going to do that, though. We're not going to do that because...
We probably will.
Yeah, we probably will.
So this Monty Python film was directed solely by Terry Jones and starring, of course, the Pythons, which include Graham Chapman, John Cleese, Terry Gilliam, Eric Idle, Terry Jones, and Michael Palin. And the synopsis I pulled from Letterboxd is... Brian Cohen is an average young Jewish man, but through a series of ridiculous events, he gains a reputation as the Messiah. When he's not dodging his followers or being scolded by his shrill mother, the hapless Brian has to contend with the pompous Pontius Pilate, an acronym-obsessed members of a separatist movement. Rife with Monty Python's signature absurdity, the tale finds Brian's life paralleling biblical lore, albeit with many more laughs.
I mean, in short, it's a satirical attack on organized religion. I mean, that's really what this is.
Wait, I want to hear the tagline's good.
Oh, sorry.
And I can't. Maybe we can do it. Can you do it in like the mother's voice? He's not the Messiah. He's just a naughty boy.
Well, Terry Jones.
Yeah,
but Terry Jones is
voice?
the only one who could have done that. But I'm not gonna repeat that. I'm not gonna do that.
I keep trying to do it.
I prefer.
He's not the Messiah. He's just a very naughty boy.
You can't do it because you're not a man. That's the issue.
True.
You haven't got that low register where it's just like.
I did wear my fake beard for this occasion, and I brought a satchel of stones.
Yeah, that's still one of the best scenes in the movie, though. Is really.
She threw it.
He did. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's funny, and it's all grounded within a sense of like, yeah, this is what you believe in, because that's where it all kind of stems from. But yeah, we'll get into it. I know Terry Jones directed this one, but I kind of just want to talk about Monty Python, like the comedy troupe, just as a whole. Because it really is. It doesn't really, it's not like it's like, oh, this is Terry Jones's film, and certainly we'll get into that sort of thing. Because also there's the Terry Jones, Terry Gilliam creative differences argument on this movie as well. But yeah, the Monty Python comedy troupe, which is Graham Chapman, John Cleese, Eric Idle, Terry Gilliam, Michael Palin, and Terry Jones. The show was popular. It was a 45-episode show. It was Monty Python's Flying Circus, which was popular between 1969 and 1974. And that ran on TV for 5 years. And then immediately after doing that, they made Monty Python's Now Something completely different, which was basically a handful of like, it was like an anthology of some of the hand selected sketches from the TV show. And the TV show, I mean, you and me are fairly familiar with it. It's very off the wall. It's very surreal. It's quintessentially British, I would say. Like, it is very identifiable as British comedy. And I am going to reference the Goon Show as well, because the Goon Show came out before Monty Python did, but it was a huge influence on the Monty Python comedy troupe. That's why Spike Milligan makes a cameo in this movie as well. And Spike Milligan was one of the members of the Goon Show.
He was apparently vacationing there in the area, and they were like, "Oh, he's here. Can we just pop in real quick and do a little cameo?"
Yeah, and his cameo is one of the funniest parts of the movie. Also, George Harrison makes a cameo. It's very briefly, but we talk about George Harrison because EMI Films, they released Holy Grail. Now, Holy Grail was very successful. Now, I don't think the guys, the Monty Python comedy troupe, I didn't think they didn't really have aspirations to continue making feature films. But I think on the basis that Holy Grail had made so much money, they were kind of half tempted. And I think Eric Idle had originally come up with the idea of, you know, they had an in joke about I think it was like a particular play, I can't really remember what it was, about you know, obviously the birth of Messiah and following this person who's a reluctant leader, a Messiah. But, you know, what they came up with was The Life of Brian. And basically, within a couple of days before production was meant to begin, EMI Films pulled funding, basically citing, for whatever reason, I don't know why they hadn't read the script prior, but they pulled all financing from the movie because they were scared of the subject matter. And literally within days before production was meant to begin, George Harrison, obviously the ex-Beatle, and Denise O'Brien, they arranged funding and financing, and they formed Handmade Films.
They literally created a company because George Harrison wanted to watch another Monty Python movie.
Yes, and they were already in Tunisia by this point, and it was kind of just like, well, something needs to happen or something's going to fall through. But as you might have gathered, I mean, in 1979, I mean, it's the fact that a film of this type drew so much controversy. You know, it was religious groups cited blasphemy in regards to the film. It was banned by several film councils. If you've ever seen interviews, there's a really famous one with John Cleese and Michael Palin basically defending free speech and expression against these vehement religious groups. And I think basically what they had done was that they kind of threw it back in the face of religion because of, you know, I do like to look at The Life of Brian as if like, because I think even Dogma, Kevin Smith's Dogma does this as well, where like the gaps are filled in slightly to kind of make it feel a little bit more humanistic, because obviously the Bible is a moralistic tale. But at the same time, you have to imagine that, you know, all religion starts from somewhere. Why wouldn't it start with something as quaint or as you know, as unassuming as this? You know, certainly with The Life of Brian. I think that's also why Life of Brian is so funny. But yeah, I mean, what you basically come out with is not only their best film, but it's like one of the top films of British comedy that's ever been made. But yeah, in terms of their filmography, I spoke about, you know, Monty Python's Flying Circus. Now for something completely different. In 1971, Holy Grail came out in 75, and then Life of Brian came out in 79, and then Meaning of Life came out in 83, and then also whatever's part of the filmography, there's Alive at the Hollywood Bowl from 82 as well. That's also included in that filmography. But yeah, Terry Jones did direct this movie. They co-directed, or Terry Gilliam and Terry Jones co-directed Holy Grail. And you can see a lot more Gilliamisms in Holy Grail. You don't see so much of that, other than within like the set design and stuff for Life of Brian. Life of Brian, I think, looks okay. I think it looks all right, but I think a lot of that's down to Gilliam. But yeah, there was a lot of creative distances between those two. And I feel like they were... I feel like obviously every single one of these people is a very big character, but certainly when it comes to helming these films, I think, yeah, certainly it comes down to Terry Jones and Terry Gilliam, who obviously went on to have quite lucrative film careers. But yeah, Gilliam focused more on the set design for this, but they had fairly creative differences during the production of this movie. So
Yeah, they had to separate it so they just wouldn't have as many problems as they'd had in the past.
yes,
And, that works out. And also, the set that they were working with was left over from a 1977 miniseries called Jesus of Nazareth. So the
yes.
set and a lot of the costumes they were able to just use.
Yeah, they were just able to reuse it all. So I think the budget for the film's like 4 million, and it did eventually go on to make more than like 20 something plus million.
Yep.
So yeah, very, very. It's just a very good film. It's such a pleasant thing to watch, and I haven't seen it in such a long time either. And we were watching this, but yeah, it's such a pleasant experience. I don't know how many times I've seen this film. It's my most watched Monty Python film. It's my favorite.
My favorite, well, I don't know. My favorite is probably still The Holy Grail. And I've seen that one way more times than I've seen this one. I've maybe only seen this a handful of times.
Yeah.
I used to watch Meaning of Life quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm just not the biggest fan of Meaning of Life, but there's some good parts in it. But I just think Life of Brian melds the two. The issue I have with some of the Monty Python films, and it's not that they're bad, is that it's hard to separate the sketch comedy from what would then be like a cinematic rendition of a Monty Python story. Life of Brian, I feel, just does it better than the other ones.
Right. It's a more cohesive tale, like
yeah.
start to end. And so is The Holy Grail. The other ones are more sketchy.
It's like it's like an actual story from beginning to end with loads of funny bits in the middle. And every single scene is effectively like a sketch. But the thing is that, the sketches themselves, they're cohesive to the overall theme and storytelling that's being told. Everything's driving the story forward, which is basically, you're centered around this character, Brian, who's mistaken for the Messiah. And you have his life, and then you obviously have his death at the end. And it just, for me, it just works better just as a cohesive whole, more so than, say, like Holy Grail and Meaning of Life that feel a bit more sketchy to me.
I have a couple of things I wanted to just elaborate on that I also, because you did a lot of research as well. Look at you.
I did a wee bit. It's just because I'm very familiar with the making of this film, and I've seen the film I wouldn't say three figures, but very close to it. It was always, if it was ever on the TV, I remember my mom would just leave it on. And this isn't really, I wouldn't call this like a Christmas movie, but it does deal with the birth of Christ. And what's more Christmassy than the birth of Christ?
The birth of Brian.
And the birth of Brian. But to me, I find things like this when comedians really go after a subject and they attack it and they dismantle it and it's insightful. I think if this film angers people because it does such a good job of basically like dismantling the mindset and the thought process behind what people believe in.
And it's not to say that they were careful not to attack, the character of Jesus, because Jesus is in this movie, but it's about the religion aspect.
Yeah, it's about following.
Because they're like, there's nothing wrong with Jesus. Like, we don't have any problem with Jesus.
No,
he had some good ideas.
He has some good ideas, and I do like that it answers the age-old question of how did everyone listen? Like, how could they all hear Jesus on the like his sermon on the Mount? And basically, the answer was no, they couldn't. So that's why I always kind of write about that. But that's one of my favorite Michael Palin moments as well, is when Eric Idle's calling him Big Nose, and that that voice for me is maybe my favorite of all of Michael Palin's voices. So
well, the Greek will inherit the earth.
Yeah, blessed are the cheesemakers.
That's right.
No, the meek.
I'm gonna make
blessed
that a bumper.
are the meek.
I'm gonna make
having
that
such a hell of a time.
I'm gonna make a bumper sticker out of that, I think. Blessed are the cheesemakers.
Well, also, Michael Palin has my favorite part from Holy Grail, which is God be praised.
God be praised.
which I fucking absolutely adore. But yeah,
I like
no,
Brave
I think,
Sir Robin ran away in that whole song.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like all of that
I
stuff.
think I think Graham Chapman's really good, but every single Michael Palin role in this is like phenomenal.
But that's why he couldn't be the lead, is because you
No.
needed him to be all of the other parts. And the same thing with John Cleese, because John Cleese
Yeah.
really wanted to play Brian, but they needed him.
He's too big of a character, John Cleese.
Yes, they needed him spread out to be all
Yeah.
the other characters. And Graham Chapman is a little bit more of a. He can do the serious stuff.
Cleese is really good as Reg in this.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the let's all talk, no action activist leader who's just kind of, you know, like that. I think he's perfect in it. The only questionable thing in it, I didn't notice that until now, and it might be because of the 2025 sensibility, is John Cleese in blackface as one of the three wise men.
Yeah.
Which I was like, all right, okay, here we go.
Yeah. Graham Chapman wanted to play the part so badly because he'd been drinking. He had a drinking problem, and he basically stopped drinking in 1977 and remained sober for this part.
Yeah.
And you were talking about how they had made a joke about this like mistaken Messiah thing, right? Because there is a story that may or may not be true that like after the release of the Holy Grail, Eric Idle made a joke to the press because they kept asking him, when's the next Python movie? We want to see it. And they weren't intending to make one at all. And so he just made a joke and said, oh, it's called Jesus Christ, Lust for Glory.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't thinking about it. They didn't want to deal with it. But then, like you had said, Holy Grail made so much money. And they're like, oh, maybe.
Yeah, it made financial sense, and they already had the backing from EMI Films because Holy Grail made so much money. But the thing was that, and the thing is like, and I'll bring Dogma up again. Like, you know, I find, you know, aspects of this to be incredibly insightful. Plus, it just kind of it also brings out a lot of the ignorance in people, which I think is kind of prevalent in anything revolving around religion. I mean,
down with this sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
But it's a really cool thing that George Harrison got involved and made handmade films, right? Because they were responsible for distributing like The Long Good Friday, Time Bandits, With Null and I. Like they were responsible for so many really cool movies.
Yeah.
Off the basis of like the reason that it was created in the first place was because George Harrison. I think Eric Idle made a joke that like this was the most expensive movie ticket anyone had ever paid for.
Yeah.
It's like a $3 million movie ticket for The Life of Brian.
Yeah.
So I really like the beginning James Bond, like Life of Brian song.
There's two main songs in this movie, and they're both bangers.
Hell yeah.
Absolute bangers. The Brian song, even before I started watching the movie yesterday, I'd already been singing it. And obviously, I think you can listen to Always Look on the Bright Side of Life, independent of like it being in the scene, but it works so fucking beautifully with all of the people singing while they're also being crucified that it's just magical.
I believe the Republic of Ireland had actually banned this film from being released.
Yeah.
But you know what wasn't banned was the soundtrack, which was released independently. Mm-hmm. And it became a top hit. Like the soundtrack to The Life of Brian was a hit in Ireland, even though they couldn't see the movie. Yeah.
But it's like a perfect like black comedy marriage of tone and principle and stuff like that, where it's like, and I mean, watching the movie now as like a 40-year-old, that ending just hits me a little bit harder, where it's just kind of like, it's like, well, yeah, he's our friend, but you know what? Even if he's reluctant to do this, we might as well just make him a martyr because it'll just make him immortal. Isn't that great? Isn't that lovely? Because that's the thing, like history is written by the victors, right? Like it's always written by the people who survive the worst of times. So You know, like, was it really martyrdom? Was it this? Was it that? Like, it really makes you ask a whole bunch of questions about what everything stems from.
I was just thinking about the Bright Side of Life song. I went and saw John Cleese and Eric Idle together and just like do a chat. And this was a long time ago, which is crazy because watching that maybe 10 years ago on stage, and they're older gentlemen, yeah? And they were older gentlemen 10 years ago. And I remember seeing them and they sang that song on the stage. And I cried. I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever sat here and watched, is like these two dudes sit here and sing the song and just like reminisce about their lives. They're still alive though, like right now, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Because thinking back then, I was like, oh my God, they're not going to be around much longer, but they totally are.
well,
At least as of recording of this.
well, Eric Idle definitely has made his money from that song. That song was probably so massively popular.
Well, he put it in spam a lot.
Yeah.
I guess they're only like in their 80s, but still.
Still, I mean, that's whatever. I mean, I remember seeing those interviews when they were being interviewed with with these heads of these religious organizations and stuff like that. And I mean, the majority of these folk, like Graham Chapman, John Cleese, Eric Idle, Terry Gilliam, Michael Bay, I mean, the majority of them went to like Cambridge, Oxford. They're intellectuals, like
Graham Chapman was a doctor.
yeah. I mean, they were very smart individuals, which is why their comedy was so good. So it was, again, I just found everything about this so interesting because we're allowed to poke fun at things if we want to. We're allowed to poke the lion in the cage. They're just trying to tell you to get a grip and have a sense of humor.
Well, yeah, sometimes you just get a
Because
group
life is too short.
You get a group of best friends, and they can change everything. Can change your mind and your heart. Another thing that changed my heart was at 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 44 seconds into this film, where I believe we get the only bit of full frontal male nudity in any Monty Python film.
It's a really good joke.
It's fantastic.
It's a very good joke.
So Brian wakes up next to Judith. This was just after a group of people just were like yelling at him that he's the Messiah.
Yeah, I think this is also, there's that Terry Jones moment where the guy's having the vow of silence and he's living in the hole
like for 15 years.
And then he's like, I want to sing
until Brian jumps on his foot.
Yeah. And yeah, you get that immortal line which is like it's like
he's like, I'm not the Messiah.
It's like, you have to be the Messiah. I've at least followed a few. I would know. Like, it's like, okay. It's like
only
perfect.
The Messiah would say he's not the Messiah.
Yeah. But yeah, he ends up having sex with Judith, I think it is.
Yes, Judith Iscariot.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
Oh, really? That's her name?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
But you don't see the sex. That's not part of the motion picture.
No, we don't see the sex. But he's at home. They have sex. He gets up. There's like, I do like how, like, when because there's a. Well, we passed it, but there's an alien spaceship sequence where he ends up in a spacecraft, and then there's a space battle, and then he crashes. I do like the fact that there's like sparrows and stuff chirping in Jerusalem, which I find even funny. So like, there's the music is playing. They've had sex. He gets up. Music's playing. It's the morning. He's like very happy. That.
Because he's always thinking about sex. So.
Yeah, that post-nut clarity. And he's completely naked. He opens the window. It's
just
all
to greet the day.
Just to greet the day. He's completely naked, full wide shot of him, and then there's 100 people just waiting for him to greet him as the Messiah.
Yes.
And yeah, it closes the window. I mean, basically, what follows after that is like, that's funny enough, but really, this is like one of the best comedy scenes ever, where it's like the mother, like Terry Jones as the mother, is having a conversation with 100 people who are saying the exact same thing in unison the entire time.
Don't they ask her if she's a virgin? Like,
yeah.
It's not a very personal question. Excuse
Well, that's just
me.
Eric Idle on his own, but
Yeah.
it's the idea of 100 people being like, "Oh, all right." But yeah, it's a cracking scene.
So Graham Chapman wrote that the matter of just genital nudity was not a problem at all, like not even a thought. But as they were filming in Tunisia, which is in northern Africa, the people are predominantly Muslim.
Yeah,
And so he had to expose himself on film to 300 extras. Half of them were women who ran away screaming because they're forbidden to see that kind of thing. And they
yeah,
didn't tell them. They didn't say, they just all, Terry Jones just goes, look up here. Didn't tell them what was going to happen. And then they opened the window and just a bunch of women just started screaming and ran away.
yeah.
He said it was detrimental to his psyche, which is a joke, of course.
Oh Jesus!
He knows
Yeah,
what
of
it was all
course.
about.
Yeah,
But also there is a rumor, okay, because I'm not going to get into like the whole circumcision thing, but it's not a common practice in the UK.
I mean, it's not a common practice at all.
To be fair, it's not a common practice for anyone other than Americans and Jewish people
Yeah, and
to
with
practice circumcision for the most part.
yeah, and with the Judaism, it's like, it's what it is. I mean,
It's a religious practice.
yeah,
So
if you really look
obviously.
into it, like it's in its own way, like that's still pretty fucked up. Where it's like they're biting off foreskins with their teeth and shit. Like it's
Well, yeah,
weird.
it's genital mutilation. I'm not a big fan of that in any
No,
way.
funnily enough, no, no.
Do not get into a conversation with me about this. I'm having a hard time holding back.
Yeah,
And I'm a woman.
I think the issue is that it happens universally, and it seems to be happening universally for no apparent reason whatsoever. So in the UK, that doesn't happen.
I had
Like, genuinely doesn't happen.
a dear friend of mine, and I don't have a lot of friends who have children, but one of my friends, we had his wife was pregnant, and they were having a boy, and then I went nuts. And no wonder they ended up circumcising their child because I was like insane. And I was giving them like pamphlets and I was sending them YouTubes and I was giving them all this documentation on why I am against it. And yeah, they still did it. But anyway, that's besides the point. So while they were
Yeah.
filming this, there's a rumor that Terry Jones, like as they do that scene, Graham Chapman opens the window. He's not circumcised.
No.
And he's Jewish and his character's Jewish.
Yep.
And he said to him, he goes, "We can see you're not Jewish." And so it is said that they used a rubber band to like mimic a circumcised penis so that, it wouldn't be an issue. I don't know if that actually happened because after learning that, we rewound it and I took a closer look. And this isn't something that I'm not interested in like discussing what this dude's penis looks like. That's not the point.
No.
It's just like that is a rumor that because, Brian Cohen is a circumcised male and
Yep.
Graham Chapman isn't, that they figured they maybe would find a way to work around that by using a rubber band. I don't think that actually happened.
Yeah.
But it is a very funny joke, if so. We can see you're not Jewish.
Hilarious.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is hilarious, isn't it? Maybe I should join a comedy group.
Good luck finding folk as funny as you.
Oh my gosh, thanks. I always wanted to do like, not stand up, but like,
Comedy improv on a stage
Improv.
to people. Yeah, well, you like.
I was that asshole in the audience if I did go to improv and they're like, "Oh, let's just get a word from the audience," and I would always yell diarrhea. I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah.
They don't like that.
No.
They don't like that at
No.
all.
They're like, we had diarrhea yesterday. Is this the same person?
I keep going back
Yeah, just keep
alone
going back.
with a hoodie and a hat and sunglasses, and I just yell diarrhea at
Yeah.
improvers. Yeah, I'm a nightmare.
But yeah, after a whole bunch of, following and leading, the Romans get a hold of him again. They're just like, crucify him. So they do.
Biggest-
to make an example of him. Yeah, biggest
Biggest
Dickus. Yeah,
Dickus.
biggest Dickus makes an appearance. Which just happens to be Graham Chapman. But he's funny because he has a different kind of he has a lisp as opposed to rolling his R's. There's a different kind of speech impediment. So
Yeah, that's pretty good.
only thing I like is that the Romans are like these like really broad like northerners when they're crucifying these people, and they're like, and one of them makes the joke of just like hands up if you don't want to be crucified, but they're all like their hands are like pinned to the wood, and he's like, all right then, next.
I absolutely love like Michael Palin's like very sweet voice at the end of the movie. He's like, crucifixion. Over here on the left, one cross each.
Yeah,
It's the cutest little voice. And then Eric Idle walks up and he's like, crucifixion? He's like, oh no, I'm actually freedom. I'm here. It was a mistake. I'm supposed to be freed. Let me go. And he's like, oh wow, okay, absolutely. Just go on your way. And he's like, I'm just kidding.
yeah,
It's crucifixion. Oh, it's so cute. And then he ends up getting away anyway.
he does. Yeah,
I'm Brian. I'm Brian. Isn't that like a Spartacus joke?
yeah, yeah. I'm Spartacus. Except
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, okay. Well, it's because like he's one of the Well, I'm not going to tell you what happens there, but it's so that they can
Don't spoil Spartacus.
Well, no,
for
it's
me.
so they can protect Spartacus's identity, and they all stand up with him, saying they are Spartacus. So because he was
This is quite the opposite.
This is very much the opposite. This is all about self-preservation.
What a poignant joke.
Yeah, it's all about self-preservation. And that's all it is, really. I mean, it comes dot by dot. Like, you can believe in whatever you want to believe, but end of the day, folk will fuck each other over at the first hint of anything going awry. So, yeah, no, that's exactly what that is. And then obviously the film ends with always look on the bright side of life. So,
yeah, that song still makes me sad.
Well, yeah, because it is a sad song.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Life is a
but
piece
just
of
that
shit if you look at
shot of
it.
all of the crosses on that hill and
Yeah.
they're all singing is the most tragically hilarious thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
It is rough.
yeah.
Oh dear. Did you know that the first draft of the screenplay was called The Gospel According to St. Brian?
That's pretty good. Well, that's that Pasolini movie, right? The Gospel According to St. Matthew.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty funny. Everything's a joke. Everything's a joke.
Is.
Which is everything I say is a joke too.
Oh.
So yeah, that's why no one should ever take anyone seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause everyone's a fucking joke.
My
So that's
gosh.
fine. Yeah.
My goodness. Well, would you like to get into our ratings?
Yes.
Go ahead and go first. Visibility and context, sir.
5. And I'm
course
not
it
even
is.
going to explain it either. It's 5. It's all the basis of a joke. Like, it's a very good joke.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
even... It's weird because if you put them into the categories that we usually talk about when you talk about like melodramatic, shock, comedy, it's definitely more on the shock side, but it's not even that shocking. I feel like you're expecting it.
Yeah.
And it happens and it's so perfectly placed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they know how to do things. Like they know how to set up and knock out a joke.
Yeah.
And it's so good, so funny. All those people standing there. I mean, it's genuinely perfect.
Well, the film doesn't cut an awful lot either, because most of the sketches are all basically played in one shot, which is how they would have played on TV for the most part. So you do get an idea of the rhythm of how each of these scenes plays out. How it's more about the performance as opposed to like, you're cutting around the performance. So that's something I quite liked and kind of noticed when we were watching it this time. As it kind of sticks to the one frame, and it's like, that's your frame, perform in the frame, and that's it. So,
and what about the movie itself?
it's one of my favorite films of all time. So it's like also a 5.
Oh
it's kind of
my gosh!
It's very difficult for me to rate it any lower than that, because even after watching it so many times, like, it still makes me laugh. I mean, that alien sequence that comes out of nowhere is fucking perfect, absolutely perfect. And yeah, all the jokes are good. And this is Michael Palin's fucking shining hour. Is this movie? I think some of his best characters are in this one. He's the standout for me. I feel Michael Palin.
Who do you think is the cutest of all the pythons?
Michael Palin.
See, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, Michael Palin's always been my favorite. Because not only that, he's funny and he's insightful and he's very intelligent. And then he went on to go do a whole bunch of traveling shows, which I always liked.
I
Always
mean,
liked
if I
traveling the
could,
world with Michael Palin.
if I could retire from my job and also do a travel show, that would be fantastic. Have someone pay for me to go traveling and eat snacks and stuff.
Also, Michael Palin, other than say like Eric Idle, he seems like the most relatable one to me. I think Terry Jones is quite a heavy. He was a hardcore creative. Terry Gilliam's like just a mad film American director. Graham Chapman seems very intense and very intellectual. John Cleese seems very similarly very intellectual, very intense. So I find that Eric Idle and Michael Palin are more relatable pythons, in my opinion.
I always thought Terry Jones was the cutest one.
Yeah,
I not to say I had a crush on him or anything, but I thought he was always my favorite.
Okay.
Was Terry Jones.
Yeah, I think they all complement each other, and there's only so many of them left now. You know,
We're missing two.
yeah, but Graham Chapman died quite a while ago.
Oh, yeah.
Terry Jones died more recently, but
Yeah, I think Graham Chapman was only 48,
yes,
but he had cancer.
Yeah,
I don't know if I put down my ratings, but I'm gonna go into the docking station with you. Double fives.
okay,
Double fives because this movie is fantastic. It's very fun, and it's a fantastic penis scene. Really
Yeah.
top tier one, and
just a really good funny one.
it's so great.
Yeah,
You know, yeah. Well, goodness, what a fun movie. We've been waiting to this for such a long time. I think I just really wanted to watch this movie this year.
yeah,
I haven't seen it in quite a while, so.
yeah, and plus it's ripe for Christmas. If you forget what Christmas is all about, we are here to remind you.
The two films we did this year are insane.
They are, yeah.
You
they
could
are.
watch them back to back. There's no reason you couldn't do that.
Yeah, you're not going to get much of a laugh out of Marvin Collar, but at the
No.
same time, it gears you up for a good time with Life of Brian.
Just a nice bit of relief.
Yeah, nice bit of religious relief,
Brevity.
Yeah, just,
And then, and then they die, so I don't know.
I mean, that's the story of Christ, unfortunately. Anyone who
gosh.
complains about why does he die at the end, it's like, well, Christ did for your sins, no less. So
And Brian did it for the joke.
he did it for the joke, reluctantly and confusedly. He just kind of went along with it as best he could, and it's just the way it was. And it's like, oh wow, that's startling. But yeah, I think films. Yeah, I think Christmas. This is the one of the ultimate Christmas movies, probably. Which means that we'd have to put all of those, like Last Temptation of Christ was also probably going to be a Christmas movie as well. Same with like Jesus of Nazareth and the Gospel according to Saint Matthew and Passion of the Christ. Like,
No penises in those, though.
no,
I really expected one
but they're dealing with actual Jesus Christ though.
in the
We're dealing with
Scorsese
Brian.
one
I
and
don't.
the Willem Dafoe one.
I don't think. Well, Willem. Yeah, Willem. You don't see Willem's
No,
wiener in that one.
you do not.
But I mean, I don't know. Maybe Harvey Keitel's in there. He plays Judas Iscariot in that.
He doesn't
movie.
take it out either.
No, but I bet he was desperate to. But
Yeah.
yeah, he's just like, how do I do this? I'm like, I'm getting the gold pieces, right? And then I take my dick out. It's like, no, don't, Harvey. No.
But he doesn't do naked scenes.
He's like, oh, I don't do naked scenes. It's like, Harvey, I'm confused.
But Judas does. Marty, I really feel like Judas would want to take his dick out here. Like, I wouldn't personally do it because I've never done that before, but Judas really, I feel like he would be naked here.
I don't, no, Harvey, no, I don't think that, no, yeah, no, I don't think so. But here's the thing: if we can't make fun of some of these things, then what really is the point? I think that's kind of what that is, and I like how. Because I think different perspectives are important, and certainly things that are so kind of rigid and misinterpreted. I think that we should be able to examine things from very different angles, because as human beings, we should be examining the things that are in our lives. So that is why. But yeah, you have yourselves a Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
Don't be naughty boys and girls, because
Well,
Brian is watching.
Santa's not real. Your mums and dads will be providing your presents this year, but
Some of the presents under the tree are from our dog. You know.
Whoa. When did he get a job?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
He's holding out on us.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure to follow us on Letterboxd and on Instagram at OnTheBiTTE, BiTTE. Rate us on wherever you're listening to this, and make sure it's high because it's Christmas. And we're nice people. And that's a good thing to do. Yeah, goodness, wow. Coming to you from the People's Front of Judea, I have been Laura.
Brian.
From the Judean People's Front.
Yeah.
Well,
fuck off. Judean People's Front. Yeah.
We'll see you next year.
People's Front of Judea.